All right, so today's the day. We're going to start building the dry toilet. We've got our toilet seat. We're going to build a box. We want to measure and make sure everything's going to fit in place. So before we do anything else, just take the raw parts, kind of lay them out on top of each other. We're going to measure here. That's 14 1/8. Is it square? It should be 14 1/8 back here. And yes, it's 14 1/8 back there. Measure from here to here, and we're at 19 3/8. Let's go in the Roadtrek and see if those measurements are going to equate with something that'll fit inside the Roadtrek's little cabinet for the toilet. So I have just over 21 inches in depth, and I have a little better than 14.5 inches wide, so that'll be okay. If you notice here, this dimensions on this elongated toilet seat that I bought from Home Depot, here's the particular Home Depot SKU number for it. It was $10. It's not an expensive toilet seat. But the dimensions that are listed here are completely wrong. They're not even the dimensions of the box. The box is 14 5/8 inches wide, and it's 20.5 inches long. So these dimensions, if the toilet seat was this big, it wouldn't even fit in the box. It's important to verify the measurements yourself. I used to fly airplanes. One of the things I was taught when I was given my training was you don't trust anybody. You don't trust anything except what you can prove yourself. Don't trust, verify. So this isn't going to be a video review of Craig tools. It does make an extremely square cut using this AccuCut. Now what we need to do is trace the inside of the toilet ring and cut that out. Going to figure out the elevation of things. So we're right about 12 inches. All right, so this looks like it's just about 12 inches here. We have to build some uprights like here, like this. 8 3/4 inches. So there we go. We got our uprights cut. Okay, now it's time to, well, charge the battery in the camera and drill the pocket holes in these uprights so that they can screw to the bottom. Well, UPS just stopped by. This is going to be the tank, the liquid tank. I wasn't sure which one would work out the best, so I got a couple of them. All right, so we cut 6 upper supports, these supports here, and now I've cut ladders for in between those supports, and then we'll cut a couple more ladders for between these supports. Now the important thing is to determine whether or not it will all screw together and function properly. Well, it's been raining for about 3 days, so that's kind of curtailed my working outside. But anyway, I'll show you the progress as far as it's come. Toilet seat screwed on. Our uprights, this is very sturdy. I shimmed it a little bit. It was a little out of square, so I've got a couple of shims here that put it back in square. Overall, I got it to where everything fits nice and square. Now underneath this piece, I'm going to build some cleats around here. So here are the cleats I made. I just took a scrap of the MDF that I had and cut it into 3/4 inch lengths. So it's going to fit perfectly that way. And then another piece is going to go here. And that will secure it from moving this direction or that direction. So how do I attach these so that it's perfect? I have to, physically attach it to get the right position, but how am I going to hold it in place? Well, that's where this tape comes in handy. Watch and see. I can position everything exactly where I want it. And then once I have everything in position, easy enough then to drill the holes. I just want to continue using screws because then if I want to take it apart or need to adjust something, it makes that easy to do. So there we have it. I'd be taking this off, you know, on kind of a regular basis. Everything nice, firm, and secure. Yeah, no problem. Square. Yep, everything nice and square. Good. Now I'll just drill holes and tap the screws in. I fiddled around with different ideas about putting these sides on. The things I came up with didn't work out, so I'm just going to screw the sides on. I measured in, of course this is 1.5 inches, this piece of wood here, and so I measured in 3/4 inch and down 1 inch. I made a mark this way and a mark this way, and then I figured 3 will be good. 3 in front, 3 in the middle, and 3 in the back. That'll hold this on with no problem at all. And I'm just using these little 1/2 inch screws. Now that I've got one drilled, I can get the other sheet out. And mark up this sheet with the holes in the same position. And now we're just drilling the pilot holes. I find it really helpful to use a magnet to hold all my screws together. That way if I, have a particular number of screws, I'm not going to lose any of them. Alright, so here you can see I've laid out a little grid pattern for where I want the pan to go. And what's the pan for? Well, the pan holds the bucket so that the bucket doesn't move around. I need to hold the pan down because if I don't hold the pan down, the bucket won't come out of the pan properly. So there it is. I've drilled holes in it already. Now I'm going to drill holes, little pilot holes for the screws in the base, and then screw it down. The screws in. And now with the lid back on, we'll see where everything lines up. Yep, perfect. Now it's a matter of building the thing to hold the tank for the urine diverter. I don't think I really showed how I made the urine diverter. This is a coffee creamer, half-gallon, quote, half-gallon size, cut down to shape to fit me, my shape. This is a piece of this material here, just a little strip of it that I formed with a heat gun to the shape of the toilet opening. And then this is just plexiglass that I super glued with using baking soda to make a real strong super glue bond with this material, and then drilled some holes and screwed it into the toilet. And that's my urine diverter. Alright, so for the tank, I cut a piece of material that's as long as the tank is wide, or as wide as the tank is wide. This little nubbin on the bottom, so I have to use a drill bit and cut about a 1 1/8 inch hole here in the bottom. Not really a hole, but just a detent to accept that shaped thing there. Alright, so I've got a Forstner bit, the right size, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this, or drill it, I should say. Now this tank, if you look at the side, it's angled up like that. This is probably supposed to be drilled out for a drain, so they make this kind of like a funnel. But the fact that it rocks back and forth is good, because as the urine diverter comes down, it needs to locate itself right in the center. So having this be able to oscillate a little bit back and forth is perfect. Okay, so we drilled some holes in here. This will be the bottom, and here are the two long sides, and then I have material here I'm going to cut and make the short sides. Okay, so I'm just finishing up the little box here, taking out the indexes. There we go. It's screwed down. The tank fits in there. Alright, so there's a tank. It's in there securely, but it's easy to remove when you need to with a cap. And so now we're going to see how this all fits together and works, hopefully. There we are. And does the tank fit in place properly? Yes, it does. And if we look down here, it actually kind of pushes down on the tank a little bit. There's a little spring loading in it. Not much, but a little bit. Just enough to maintain a good seal. So that's it. Now I'll just screw the front back on. That's why I like screwing things on, because sometimes you wind up having to unscrew and take them off for something that's a little unplanned. So with this off, I could align it and get this mechanism aligned properly. Removing the toilet is easy. It's just two nuts, one on this side of the toilet and another one over here on this side of the toilet. And then up top here, we have to disconnect the water and plug the water line. Alright, so as you can see, it's a fairly simple process to take the toilets out of these Roadtreks. There are a couple of nuts. They're a little hard to get to. You have to maybe fabricate a wrench or get a little short wrench, but the bolts fit on here. And then there's one water connection right back here, and it's a compression fitting. So this trying to use a bolt idea is not working out. I want something that doesn't leak. I want to be sure it isn't leaking, because it's going to be underneath something and I'm not going to be able to see it. Well, I found something that I think is going to work. It is a shark bite, whatever they call that thing. Okay, it's a plug. I can heat up the tubing with a heat gun and get it soft. All right, well, it took a little more effort than I planned. Had to heat up that tubing, spread it a little bit, and then have enough room to jam that plug down in there. I used a little pipe thread sealant to kind of lubricate it and move it down the line, and that seemed to do the trick. The pump is on now. Yeah, it's maintaining a seal, so I think that's going to be good moving forward here. All right, so there's the frame of the toilet, that bottom frame I was talking about that I needed to raise the toilet a little bit in order to clear this drain opening here. What I'm going to do is just put a plug in this hole here, a piece of plastic material over this, and then just allow the toilet, the base of the toilet, to come down and push on this and create a nice seal. First thing needs to happen is this needs to get clamped down with these little U-clamps here. I didn't clamp it down because I didn't know exactly where I needed to put it, and now I know where it needs to go, so I can just clamp it down appropriately for where it needs to go. Well, it's been a long ride. I took my time. I think I did it pretty well. I think I did it right. And there it is. A dry toilet in place of the old Thetford toilet. Shower's still functional. I have enough room along the side here. And I got a little scooper at the dollar store. And when I'm done, take another little scoopful and put it on top. So, there you have it. There it is. Complete. Well, I got to do a little painting up front here on this part, and probably get a new strip of molding there. It kind of is falling apart. Other molding around the van is too. So that'll be a project for another day. I'm happy with the results. I think it'll work out good. Okay, that's it. Done. Start to finish, stem to stern, top to bottom. One of the benefits that I really didn't think about when I did this project was now, instead of using that stuff that I call 2000 grit sandpaper that other places call RV toilet paper, I don't have to use that stuff. I can use the quilted northern, the squeezably soft Charmin. That's a nice bonus, like everything I kind of do in the van. If somebody wants to revert back to what it was originally, it's no problem. I haven't done anything to compromise the system. The tank's still in place. The water connection is still there. The opening for between the toilet and the tank is preserved. I didn't change anything. I will say one thing. If anyone's planning on building one of these for their own vehicle, the most important thing for me was the measuring. Because when all is said and done, I have about 3/16 of an inch between the knobs of the shower and the side of the toilet. Plenty to turn the knobs off and on. I flipped the shower fixture upside down so that the hose now comes out through the top rather than me having to snake it underneath and have tension on it in a tight loop. It would just made much more sense to spin it around and have the hose available through the top. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you can make use of the construction I did, the plans I built, how I thought about doing it, putting it together. So if so, and you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you think it'd help somebody else, please share it with them.
If you'd like to get more content like this, then subscribe and ring the bell, and you'll be notified when new content gets posted. As always, thanks for watching the video, and until next time, comment as you see fit. So long.